Hello everyone, we are Group 45. Our research topic is about top grossing movies. Firstly, let me introduce our group members. Our group leader is Qu Jinyang. The other members are Yang Pei, Wang Yun, Zhao Zhuo, Wang Dan. Additionally, here our task distribution. You can take a look. In the current film market, selecting movie genres and themes that can achieve high box office revenue is a critical decision for filmmakers and investors. This study, based on the top 200 movies from 1997 to 2024 data, obtained from Kango, explores how various factors influence box office performance. These factors include opening weekend box office performance, movie genres, audience preferences, production companies, ratings, number of screening venues, and country of production. The analysis aims to provide valuable market insights for filmmakers and investors to help them make more informed decisions in the movie investment process.
Table of contents, task distribution, business topic, research questions, acknowledgement. Business topic. In the current films market, choosing the tips and themes of films that can achieve high box office is a problem faced filmmakers and investors. In this process, some factors affect films' market performance and box office receipts. First weekend box office, what kind of the audience like and the audience rating on website, the film's production company, and the number of theaters in which films is released. Therefore, this study aims to explore how two above factors affect the movie box office in the process of film investments.
The first problem we'd like to focus on is which film distribution company had the highest box office growth for its films from 1997 to 2024. A visual analysis of the top 200 films in the total box office from 1997 to 2024 shows that there are 16 film distribution companies. As shown in the figure, Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures had the highest box office growth of any film from 1997 to 2024. Walt Disney Motion Studios picture distribution has enjoyed great success over the past few decades, but continued growth is still important. Disney could invest more in visual reality and artificial intelligence.
Okay, thanks my teammates. Let's talk about question 2. How does the proportion of opening weekend revenue to total revenue affect the final box office performance of a film between 1997 and 2024? First, the opening weekend box office is usually considered an important indicator of a movie in the early stage of its theatrical release, because it can show the audience in sustain and appeal to the movie. The proportion of the opening weekend revenue in the total revenue has a certain impact on the final box office performance of the movie. The following figure shows the percentage of the opening weekend revenue of different movies to the total revenue. It can be seen that the percentage of the opening weekend revenue of most movies to the total revenue is concentrated between 20% and 15%. The life cycle of a movie is generally 8 weeks, which shows that the opening weekend revenue has a great impact on the total revenue of the movie. About these questions recommendations, the opening weekend box office revenue typically accounts for 20% to 15% of the total box office revenue for a movie. Movie companies should focus on pre-release promotion and marketing, including inviting media and critics for screening to gain positive review and word of mouth. Additionally, navigating social media and influence of the movie stars to attract fans can also boost box office revenue during this crucial period. Let's continue talk about question 3. Is the total box office revenue of a film affected by the month of release between 1997 and 2024? It can be observed from the scatter plot that the total revenue distribution of movies released in different months is not uniform. The total revenue distribution of movies in specific months, such as April, May, and December, is relatively concentrated, and the number of points in the scatter plot of these months is dense, which means that there may be more movies released in these months, as shown in the figure below. From the chart below, we can see that 3 of the top 5 movies in terms of total revenue were released in December, which means that movies released in December may have higher box office revenue, which may be related to December being Christmas in the West. The recommendation of these questions. Box office revenue is influenced by the release month. Film companies can choose to release movies in May, June, July, and December, when holidays are more frequent, attracting more viewers. They can adjust the release dates based on specific holidays, such as family movies before New Year's and romantic movies before Valentine's Day. By developing release strategy tailored to target market, film companies can maximize box office revenue.
The question 4, we discussed what types of the film have earned the highest total box office between 1997 and 2024. Will this kind of the film remain popular with audience? From the chart, we can see that action movies audience prefer it, followed by comedy and fantasy movies. The most popular action movies are action science fiction movies and action adventure. The reason is that action science fiction movies and adventure movies had advanced special effects and large screens that can give the audience an immersive experience. While fantasy or adventure movies attract the audience with their unique style and rich imagination, audience like to choose these types can have a better sense of the experience. As can be seen from the figure, since 1997, the total growth of the global films has increased, especially the market share of the action science fiction movies has risen. There are several reasons. The first, the expansion of the global film market, providing large audience bases for action movies. Secondly, advance of the film technology has promoted the action science fiction movies. Meanwhile, the rise of the social media and online platforms has increased the box office. From here, we can still see that the action science fiction movies in the action movies category has the highest box office. As we can see from the chart of the opening weekend box office, action science fiction movies are still the most popular movies. In terms of the average revenue per theater on the opening weekend, action science fiction movies still dominate. The reason why action science fiction movies are so popular because the scene and the story is good and making them accessible and loved by audience all over the world. Action sciences movies contain elements such as future technology and aliens, which are the enrich imagination. We can also from the picture that audience prefer this kind of movie. The action science fiction movies, the most popular movie in the future. Their recommendation for investors focus on the action science fiction movies, action adventure, and action combining other categories. At the same time, we should pay attention to the qualification of the film production company. The film affect funds to issue the film cost recover. When the progress of the sciences and technology, the channel of communication are also increased, and how to attract audience to watch movies is also very important. We focus on the interaction and network publicity and increasing screen channels such as online platforms.
Question 5. What is the relationship between movie ratings and the box office revenue from 1997 to 2024? Does a high rating necessarily mean high box office revenue? We are analyzing this business issue from three movie ratings, starting with the Douban rating and box office revenue. Firstly, from the graph above, it can be observed that there is a positive correlation between Douban ratings and box office revenue. A significant number of movies have ratings in the 15% to 18% range, with their box office revenue mainly concentrated between 0 to 500 million. Although fewer movies have ratings above 15%, the box office revenue is notably higher compared to lower rating movies. However, this positive correlation is not absolute. For example, as highlighted in the graph, a movie with a Douban rating of 93% has a box office revenue of only about 118.76 million. Similarly, some movies with ratings below 15% have also achieved considerable box office success, indicating that ratings are not the sole determinant of box office performance. Secondly, Rotten Tomatoes Freshers score and box office revenue. From the graph above, it can be seen that there is a positive correlation between Rotten Tomatoes Freshers ratings and box office revenue. Generally, movies with higher ratings tend to have higher box office revenue. However, there are exceptions. For example, as highlighted in the graph, a movie with a Rotten Tomatoes Freshers rating of 19% has a box office revenue of only about 118.76 million. Similarly, some movies with rating below 15% still achieve high box office revenues. Therefore, while there is a general positive correlation between movie ratings and box office revenue, it is not absolute, and exceptions do exist. Thirdly, popcorn index and box office revenue. From the graph above, it can be seen that there is also a positive correlation between the popcorn index and box office revenue. Most movies have a popcorn index ranging from 45% to 95%, with their box office revenue mainly concentrated between 0 to 500 million. However, there are a few exceptions. For example, as highlighted in the graph, a movie with a popcorn index of only 41% has a box office revenue as high as 620.18 million. This indicates that ratings are not the sole determinant of box office success. Based on the analysis above, we propose the following recommendation. Although there is a certain positive correlation between movie ratings and box office revenue, ratings are not the only determining factor for box office success. Therefore, it is recommended that in the process of movie production and distribution, attention should be paid not only to ratings but also to effective marketing strategies, selecting appropriate release timing, understanding audience preferences, expanding distribution channels, and actively leveraging word-of-mouth effects to comprehensively enhance the movie's box office performance.
The sixth question we discussed is, does playing in more theaters lead to higher revenue? First of all, the scatter plot shows the total gross and the total opening weekend revenue of each theater group. It can be seen from the figure that the total revenue increases with the increase in the number of theaters. But after reaching a peak such as 4,075 to 4,300, the growth rate slows down or even declines. This shows that when a movie is released in a large number of theaters, the market may be saturated or too many theaters spread out the audience, and the attendance of each theater may decrease, thus affecting the box office revenue of an individual theater. Then compared with the histogram, we can see that in the range of 4,075 to 4,300 theaters, the number of movies released is the largest, and the total movie revenue is also the highest. This shows that the theater number range is the first choice of film distributors, because box office revenue and benefits are optimal within this range. From the above analysis, we can conclude that the market is showing signs of saturation. Box office revenue increases with the number of theaters, but the growth rate gradually decreases until it reaches a saturation point. After this point, even if the number of theaters continues to increase, total box office revenue may no longer grow or may even decline. Therefore, we can give some feasible suggestions to film distributors. When deciding the number of theaters to release a film, the film company should first conduct detailed market research to avoid oversaturation of the market. It can also adopt a phased release strategy, showing in the core number of theaters first, testing the market response, and then deciding whether to increase the number of theaters. In this way, the optimal range of the number of theaters can be found to maximize box office revenue and benefits.
The seventh question we'd like to focus on is which film production regions are more worth of investment by film investment companies. According to the analysis, America, Britain, China, Australia, and Canada are more worthy of film investment. As the most developed country in the world's film industry, America not only has well-known production centers, such as Hollywood, but also has many excellent film production companies and film talents. The United Kingdom is another important film production country. Its capital, London, is one of the largest film production centers in Europe. Investing in Britain's film industry can provide international opportunities. China is one of the world's largest film markets. Investing in the Chinese film industry can gain huge market potential and opportunities, especially in areas such as co-filming and theater construction. Besides America, Britain, China, Canada, and Australia are also worth investing in. That's all the presentations of Group 45. Thank you for your listening.